Two storied organizations in a more modern matchup than ever. If Envy wins this match, then they will guarantee themselves essentially a spot in North American Ascension without having to play in the play-in purely off of points, unless TSM outplaces them and makes it to second. This is a must-win match for either side. TSM dangling off of the third place cliff that they sit in points-wise, and Envy to fully secure a spot as a dominant North American contender.
Well, Envy on the defense to get things kicked off. Lots of questions about this TSM composition in terms of, is it just going to be essentially a one-dimensional burst and have to hit due to the fact that you've got a vice and a chamber on the offense? Questions to be answered, to be sure. Envy with a heavy stack inside of showers behind this smoke. And 7 may have a little bit more than he had bargained for, but Envy will back off, not seeing much or hearing much. Smoke will replace, and TSM will need to consider what they want to do.
Kanzera's Brimstone has continued to be beyond entertaining on this map, especially working in tandem with Ion, who has planted himself on the other side of the Showers cubby. But TSM going to start making noise up here in B main, force Envy to start doing some other talking.
Well, a little bit of noise doesn't really do too much besides pull Egg over to it.
No breakthrough.
No. And now the teleporter. So eyes on to this little crossfire setup. Prowler denied by Kane. No one sees Ion in the corner, and that's exactly what you drafted up if you're Envy. Now back to the site, and Ion may be on for more. Alvin being covered for a moment. X3 able to find one, and that may have been enough to steal away another ace on the night. Ion finding 4 of the 5.
I mean, that's practically exactly the play that literally every Envy fan would have hoped would go down. Ion executing everything and then some on that one crunch after TSM opt to go for the TP. Not making any headway on B main, but it was intentional. They wanted to purely pull Extra on over. Just didn't matter with this double controller. Ion even able to peek into that stim beacon to give him a little bit of an extra boost in the finality of that 2v3 that he single-handedly conquered. Huge start for Envy, of course. That's how they roll.
Great stuff. And I will say, not that you often look and put a lot of focus on the pistol, but that is one that is going to have, well, TSM really considering options with that heavy stack over towards Shower. Alvin able to get a little bit of clearance behind the decoy. Ion in some trouble. Nice little snap for one. Chased down, though, for another. Egg still holding on to this position. Try to gate crash to safety and will be able to. So it gives Envy a chance here, but serviceable position for TSM until GMD falls to the Ares. And now there's numbers with a flank on the way by Inspire for the side of Envy.
We're back at the start like we were with Winthrop versus Maryville, but it's only Envy that's seeing what they can get away with. TSM is just trying to see if they can get away. Envy have so much dominance, and they look like they're practically pugging to start this one out. Kanzera just stepping on top of his smoke. Why not? Let's just see if he can get one. He almost does. He almost gets that flick off. But shoot, rest of Envy got it covered. And I think that's the excuse they'll use for a lot of these rounds.
Win's a win, I think, if you were to ask Envy.
A win is a win.
So, you know, the old golf adage of there's no pictures on a scorecard. Same idea here. All you got to look back on and say round 1. I think the thing too is like you've got the weapons that you wanted to bring into this round, this next bonus anyways. Like you'd be able to keep the Ares, you're able to keep the Outlaw. Like you still have all the weapons that you want. So there is a level of that on top of it in terms of how the bonus could be a little bit more formidable. That said though, TSM is able to afford it a full shield, so that Outlaw may not pack as big of a punch. And yeah, this is what I was going to ask, is TSM going to continue to try to show some force here to keep Envy interested at Showers? And yeah, they have to.
Yeah, they're going to continue to farm some noise over there. And Vora holding on to the spike as well. And again, nothing broken through on any other side. TSM continuing to take their sweet time. GMD a little disconnected, trying to search for some of these trap wires that are planted up on Hookah. Inspire might go for the peak. But in the meantime, TSM continuing to just make some passive space, and Timotino's found that on Showers.
Well, that space has been voluntarily given by Envy. They're going to stack the A box by playing up close with the Bucky. You got Poppin with the Ares, who can just rain Hellfire from heaven. Inspire in some trouble, but most importantly, his trap stays up. So he's shown some presence. It's going to force TSM to rotate, and they're going to rotate into the heavier stack of the two sites. So opportunity for Envy, but TSM will have the firepower and the numbers.
And bashing their head on a bit of a brick wall here in Hookah, so this one flood has got to work up on Truck. But Envy, again, like you said, they've given this space away. They're willing to play for the long haul.
We'll teleport up top. Envy gonna get the numbers back. Eggster's able to connect for one. Trade it back to the 4v4. Stim Beacon in play. TSM avoiding it though. This is taking time for Envy. Most importantly though, they do get some space to work with here at U-Haul, but Alvin, one of the last lines of defense behind the spike itself, will collect a couple, and it leaves Inspire into a 1v2 with nothing but a stinger. He'll know that Alvin is low. The problem is Timo. Maybe not so much anymore. But can't quite catch the angle, and Alvin will find 3 as TSM get their first round.
Close as close can be, but still able to escape with that bonus. But yeah, you have to appreciate TSM going right for the barricade the moment they understand their space that they've been handed has been free. Just willing to profit off of that and fight their way through those front lines until someone like Alvin Boy has enough space where he can get more than one on the way down. From there, you can collapse. So a good setup that TSM's able to end up manifesting here. Again, Envy going to be able to start grabbing guns now.
Operator most notably in the hand of Eggster. The same double stack over towards a Showers. Doesn't really do much besides trade utility. This is the big question. Will anyone peek this without a flash? The answer is yes. An Egg will find the connection. And that's the issue, right? I mean, I say without a flash, what are you going to throw? Like, you're just going to bounce a Timo flash deep over through B long? Like, that's the issue, and Eggster is really taking advantage early.
Yeah. Just finding the weak points before TSM even gets to him. And a lot of this util just hasn't made a single dent. The Prowlers have been... The Prowlers and Haunts have been pretty much burned. We haven't really seen too much get done with any of GMD's utils so far. I mean, even the Nebulas haven't been very impactful until, you know, just getting the spike down.
Yeah. This is a brilliant look at the defensive setup, though, for Envy. Yeah, that spy cam is perfect. Perfect timing for Poppin, who finds himself 2 for 1. Still in the play. Is going to be Inspire from elbow. He is smoked out for now. Teleport over to Hookah as Envy will completely envelop the B site and have to play a 4v2 retake.
This feels like a pretty comfy pinch for them. They'll just, I mean, you know what Envy's going to do. They're just going to walk into it. I don't have to tell you.
All right, then no. Let's watch it happen.
Yeah.
And there it is. Okay.
There you go.
I mean, again, like, we're seeing the issues with this composition early. I know it is early, but I think the more that Envy create this upper hand with their economy, the more comfortable this half is going to be for them. So there is like a level of TSM, as soon as they start to collect some ultimates, Dimensional Drift and Nightfall, like, they better find value. Cosmic Divide could be huge as well in terms of how Envy are setting up their defense. Like, there is a lot of stress on TSM to find efficiency with their ults and try to flip this economy around. And then if that happens, or when that happens, if you're a TSM fan, then you can start to establish some dominance. But the more that Eggster has the operator in hand, the more he's going to be able to do stuff like this, because there's just no way to push him off the angle unless you're going to use Fade utility.
Right. And you have to use so much just to take back the space that you thought you already had in the first place.
Exactly.
Envy just continuing to swipe the rug out from under you, and it's satisfying every time. Oh, he doesn't fall for that. Come on. He's played these games before.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So now you've got Alvin trying to run through smoke. That's not going to work. And, yep, Seven's Lurk also gets shut down. So not much you would have expected for this round for TSM on just pistol upgrades, but the setup is still very convincing for Envy, and we need to see something in this next round really come to fruition for TSM.
Feels like Envy can just draw so much more value out of every ounce of their kits. Like, even like a pop-in flash feels like it'll do miles more than anything TSM's been able to throw at the wall so far. And maybe it's just because Envy is so good at like early denial and catching TSM off guard to where they're like not able to fully execute. I feel like that's probably a lot of it, because TSM really love to set up shop when they're when they're going through their plant, and then they sort of blossom out from there. They're very mechanical like that, but Envy, they know how to stick wrenches in the gears, and it seems like they can still do that despite how polished TSM's been.
Oh, quick opportunity here for TSM. Decoy does actually proc the flash. Ion's still alive though, as Inspired's able to help out. Viper's pit will fall, but Zera steps up and finds everything in front of him. Now he's got the stim beacon and says, come into my web. But Alvin's happy to at least get the trade. Eggster, yikes. That is dominant from Envy. You've got all 5 ults available for TSM, but in a round that you would have expected them to put something together, that could not have fallen more short than that.
Yeah. These guys are looking beyond in form, and TSM have let slip one of the few chances they have left to keep this perpetual Envy from just continuing to truck on. Every moment that Envy decides to commit something feels so much more impactful at the moment.
Let's play.
Well, Tour de Force in play, as it's going to be a 5-man stack for TSM here. And Poppin is not going to care about that because he's got so much help around him. Same spy cam. Look at these traps.
It's
I know
so
that this was
gross.
It was something that like we saw in the rounds previous, or the couple of rounds previous from this angle. It's a really good look though, as far as how Inspire is setting himself to stay on site comfortably. And yeah,
it's very minimal changes to the wires too. He's like barely changing the angles.
Ooh. Leg gets a little bit caught right there. Inspire still has all of his traps to play around this cyber cage with. Also has Poppin still playing inside of the octagon. Orbital strike and to follow up as Inspire finds 3. Unbelievable, dude. Inspire's setup, not to be trifled with. We'll say that much, and a little bit of shots through the wall will eventually finish Alvin off, and Envy is dominating.
Envy is as Envy does, and Envy is doing it. That is all that I can really say. They continue to frolic around this map like it's a pug stack, like it's a scrim, like they are just invincible. And honestly, they're getting to that point once again. If they can hit their stride. I mean, again, this is basically to guarantee themselves a free seed in Ascension. If not for this game, they would have to potentially play in the play-in.
Yeah. I guess I'm just like, we'll talk about this in a moment here. We got some action in Showers.
Yeah.
Kane, a little bit of issue dealing with the Prowler, but Timo, first blood, first time we could really have numbers for TSM. What I was going to ask is, like, this is TSM's map pick, and it's been less than convincing on the year, but they've played it a lot inside of Challengers, and to some great success. The curious point about this is, like, you know what Envy's going to bring to the party, and I'll tell you flat out, this Yoru into the Cypher is just not finding value. And again, without the ability to flash Eggster off of an angle, this is just all too free right now from Envy. I'm just surprised they didn't play something like a Raze or just get something that could be a little bit more bursty to get up and over these traps.
Yeah, Timotino does tend to stick to this Yoru when it comes to executes like this. He's primarily mobility forward when it comes to his duelist choices, and often it leads to his downfall. And lately, a lot of games have come down to if he can frag out.
Yeah. Well, we said the same thing about Eggster in the past as well. This is a nice moment, though, for TSM. Most importantly, that opening shot from 7 is huge. Flash comes out, Chamber will teleport back, and Poppin will have to guess, is it left or is it right? And he guesses correctly. Still doable here, unless Inspire falls, in which case now this becomes extremely difficult. Smoke is down in place, or at least a star is down in place. That could be used as a vortex to pull Poppin off if he does go for it. Instead, he'll collect the operator and likely run away. Nice tag on the GMD, and Poppin is out for a little bit of blood here. Not going to find it, and surely we try to back off. Keyword is try. The GMD will not allow him to. So big round there for TSM to get not just 2 on the board, but also keep 3 alive.
Yes, very important. They're able to hold on to actually 2 operators there. And I mean, that's the setup that they were looking for. That's, you know, why 7 is sticking on this chamber. He's looking for that secondary setup once TSM is able to quickly get on site. And that is so pivotal on Timotino's ability to get inside. And the Cypher util is like not been broken at all. And so Timotino has far less confidence than normal when it comes to getting onto these sites. They just haven't been able to put a pin in things. This round, they were able to sort of just barrel through and make it work. And 7 had his setup on Showers. But again, yeah, setting up shop is so tough against Envy. They're going to find the moment every time.
And this is another key. We talked about it just a touch, but to put it into exemplification here, TSM now a chance to possibly do some serious damage to the economy of Envy as they have an op to play with of their own. So now Egg cannot really get as far forward as he had been prior. Instead, Ion tries to force the issue at mid. That doesn't work. And now numbers can start to develop towards B. Problem is you don't have the spike.
Yeah, it's still nothing more than poking the bear. At least don't throw anything just yet. That's what I was scared of, is that TSM is just going to overthrow util at this point and sell.
Ooh, good info here for Exter. This is the first shot. Teemo's going to get on to point. Dimensional drift. Oh, just in the nick of time. Teemo cannot find the elimination. But will it make much of a difference? You don't have an orbital strike to stop this. Exter playing deep. Headhunter out. Not going to work before for the trade. GMD makes sure no one else enters the site. Unless Inspire, goodness. Nearly able to get through with 2 of his own, but not the case. TSM get back to 3. Eco's still okay for Envy, but it's getting a little bit tighter, little by little.
He's starting to be able to close the gap and have a couple more resources to be able to continue to just drown out the noise that Envy try to make to interrupt these pushes. And again, it lets Timotino push on with far more confidence. It lets Alvin Boys start throwing out those vines and letting TSM really start to stretch their legs on these sites. Still takes a lot of clearing, still takes a lot of patience, and these 3 rounds are going to be no walk in the park.
This is a critical round right here, though. TSM a chance to bring this back to within 2, flip the economy around, and reset after a hot start from Envy. Same shower set up here for the defenders. Smoke gonna fade here in a moment. Kane happy to replace it. No peaks available for TSM. No challenges available for TSM, knowing they need to keep things like the Haunt and the Prowler if they eventually want to attack this site.
Double controller setup back on top of this smoke and showers. TSM, last time they played into this, they lost hard. Does Ion get red again? How much gets committed to taking him out?
Oh, they're going to wait out this timer. That's the last smoke for Kane. Teemo, other side. Problem is, you can't just peek this with the crossfire setup that's available. Prowler comes out. Eggster is watching this on the long angle. Cosmic Divide will really not stop him. He's not playing up high. Nightfall also going to go up empty. Teemo in the corner. Gets shut down by Ion. So now Showers is an issue for TSM, who have to commit to this. Molly comes down. Op and play. Nice shot from Eggster. TSM now stuck behind the site. Vora responds with 1. Alvin a second. And then the Steel Garden puts Ion a bit out of commission, having to wait for the defense to rotate over for the 3v3.
Spike planted.
At least a moment of silence as TSM can finally burst onto site. But again, how much space can they truly guarantee? Envy continuing to just walk it down.
Now Envy have to clear out U-Haul. They also have to clear out long. First guiding light comes through. That will at least put little information to where Vora is positioned. Good review on the flip side. Vora follows up on that for 1, make it 2, and then the crossfire with Alvin is perfect. All 3 survive in the post plant. TSM back to within 2.
Holding steady after Envy win once again. Those opening fights, they're able to restabilize, and they have enough confidence in their positions despite the pressure put on them to not overreact, not play into the hands of Envy too heavily. Instead, holding their ground just a little more steadfast and continuing to barrel down the fights when they came to them. Again, it takes so much setup. It takes getting onto that site and actually being able to achieve the game plan. And it was difficult. It took getting Vora actually to snake onto those boxes to be able to finally clear out the board a little bit, but it is enough. And TSM continuing to try to get over this line as Envy have this eco round.
A little bit of pre-fire over to Showers, but Envy looked like they want to stack and play this closer crossfire this time with the Stinger pistol combos that is brought for the 5 of them. But that's what we're talking about, you know? It's just like Envy off to a hot start. Eggster gets that opening operator. There's no way to challenge him until you start to get a little bit of economy back in your own right. And what a difference a tour de force and then an operator makes for 7. Yep. A little pop flash action. Teemo backing away, resets, does not expect Ion up close. And that's going to be a weapon potentially collected, but no confidence that TSM were only playing one on that position. So that will stay on the ground, and now it's up to Inspire to once again play off of his own setup to see if he can hold on to Hookah, and so far he's done well.
He's close-knit this time around. Can stall things out yet again. TSM gonna head back over to short, see if they can continue to twist the knife into the ultimately weakest point of this map. But Envy this time, more stacked than ever for it.
Decoy gets triggered. Arcrow's also identifying that the defense is nearby. Here comes the approach. Ion in the corner. Overwhelmed. Too many to shoot at. Egster on the cross. Good flash over the top. He's able to connect somehow, some way with that spam. 7 gets traded by Cainzera, and then Poppin comes out of nowhere. Oh my goodness. It's just down to Vora. 1v3. Stingers and a classic is what's in front of him. And actually, you've also got someone with a sheriff. Vora just head on a swivel, cannot find the Envy players he wanted to, and what a difference a round makes as Envy pull a thrifty and have a chance to really run away with this first half.
That is how you slam the hammer down if you're Envy. So many great stalls. That first pack kill onto Timotino, as always, really starts to turn a lot of TSM's execs to static. They are forced to second guess so many times. Inspire single-handedly holding Hookah yet again closer than ever, and then Poppin rotating back in time to react with those flashes to give more than enough time for the rest of Envy to get their peaks and their wins.
Ooh. Okay, so now the identification should be pretty decent that Egster's playing this angle. They're gonna smoke it. Decoy will confirm. Prowler technically denied. Counter flash. Timo able to avoid it. And TSM will actually kind of win that angle at B long. It's expensive, but they do push Egster off the angle, and he's gonna have to reset playing inside the site. 7, do you have a pixel peek? No, Cainzera forces the teleport back.
It seems like Poppin might challenge this again. Now that Inspire's gotten the kill on GMD, they can. Timotino has to rush this in order to gain control back.
Oof, okay.
Okay.
Not much gain, not much lost. Ion, ooh. Feeling a little feisty. Arcrow's, once again, placed and triggered as the focus starts to develop over towards B, but Ion is in a position to possibly threaten. The decoy through the teleporter stops the play at Hookah, but it does not stop the offensive play at B-Long. So now it's just down to can you hit if you're Egster from inside the site, and he is just completely overwhelmed. Kane, Stim Beacon, does not reset off of the vines, but has the orbital strike to stop the plant.
18 seconds.
It's going to be a 3v2. There will be enough time and space to plant here, and even more so as 7's op connects.
Eventually able to jumble up Envy as they twist him to and fro and win the long distance run back over to the B site after all is said and done. But so much passivity still forced to be played. As we swap sides now, though, I'm very confident that TSM is going to be able to twist rounds to their favor a lot more often. And I question if Egster is going to have the same troubles that Timotino was running into on the attack, where you continuously just get stopped a little too early on maybe a contact you didn't realize would get challenged, or just simply being forced to be a trade away.
Yeah. I don't know, it's tough because I feel like a lot of that half is just determined by the fact that Envy starts off and gets the eco boost early. I mean, there was an operator in play by round 4.
So true.
So it's like,
so true.
You credit, I would say, 3 of the 7 rounds at least to the operator that was going on challenge, but now we've got quick action down B long, potentially. Whoa. Flash pop, then you can recognize the threat, and it will be 1 for 1. 7 up top. Pushed off as he sees the angle being contested. And early orb for Cainzera, no indication that this is going to be a B or a teleport play back to A. Hard to say at the moment.
Yeah, TSM have been forced to lean, though, and now that TP will come through for Envy to make their way through showers and just try and overwhelm on the weak side. But 7 holding it down, gets a chip as well as 1.
No way to really challenge this plant. So the 3v3 develops. 2 classics in hand for TSM, where it's 3 ghosts for Envy. See if that plays much of a difference maker, as it's going to be a play through U-Haul. And Alvin almost has a chance for more. Right click to connect for Vora for a lot of damage, but Ion is out of there. Swap into the Ghost now is Vora. Inspire over at Showers. Ion playing backside truck. Should just be a wait for him to hit the spike and then double peek it together. Doesn't need to. Inspire throws the shoulder, finds the freebie, and Envy take the second half pistol to go up 8-5.
Feels like TSM could have done a way better job of suffocating with the help of that shear that was set up on lamps after Envy made their way on, because they were very much trapped for a couple crucial seconds, and TSM they decide to go to lamps and try the majority of the fight afterwards there. Seems like you have enough time to set something better up on the site itself and take over from that point instead. But again, TSM, they're working with kind of minimal util after Vora has kind of tossed everything in the span of that early fight. So I understand that, you know, how frantic they may have felt in that moment.
Well, TSM from the defensive side can really only do so much. And by that, I mean what they choose to invest in, which is largely just their utility. Alvin, the first one to drop. GMD, goodness, can we pick a perspective? It's like, yeah, okay. Yeesh. No, go. Hold on to your horses. Hold on to your seats. We're going everywhere. Oh! 9-5.
So, no question about whether or not Envy is going to have any lack of confidence in approaching any more of these fights. I think they're just, they consider every interaction in this game to be about on the same weight at this point. They really are just kind of playing it out. At TSM, they've got to just polish themselves again, force these hurdles that make Envy think.
Yeah.
To force them to have to actually achieve something.
Well, 7 is going to stay pretty far forward here at Shower. This is not a free angle. Eggster's on the corner. He's by himself, though, so I wouldn't figure he's going to peek this, at least not yet.
Yeah.
You hear some footsteps maybe from GMD running away through A, so that might give him an idea in terms of, do I try to flash this? There's a shoulder, and whoa, 7 teleports back. Eggster lucky to be alive. He needs to go find his sky and get healed, I'll tell you that much.
Well, I feel like the quickest way to do that might be for Kane and popping a TP over to him and to re-pressure Showers now that you forced out the P. Seems like A is the way to go, but TSM would have the read on that.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the case. If Egg was going to go to B and this is going to be a B hit, he would have gone over there by now. This is going to be a B hit, surely.
They're not going to take TP. They're going to walk.
And there's still a trademark in the way, so.
It just really seems like TSM should be reading this a little bit better, but they feel the confidence with the gun diff, I guess.
Ooh, Timo taking some early damage. 7, his focus pulled, has to teleport back once again. Timo still holding on over towards lamps. GMD just barely alive inside the smoke, but the trades are now here for Envy as they try to commit for the plant. And now GMD was trying to win the round by finding the elimination there. Not gonna happen. Numbers for Envy. A couple of weapons are collected on top of that. A little bit of a reveal from Vora, but the same can be said for Inspire, who somehow gets a trap down. Little friendly fire comes through, literally, but K0 makes up for it, no problem. 10-5, Envy all over TSM on their map pick.
And he's cheesing the whole way through on top of that too, man. I'm telling you, Envy is just having fun with it. I fault TSM for that round. They did not expect the sudden execute when that's all Envy does. They expected the sudden execute from the TP potentially, but not the walk from short, despite the fact that the clock could have only preceded that. Just feels like a lack of preparation on the right site when you have all the intel you need to read that that's where they're heading. And I mean, like, Kane is still holding on to his smokes. They guarantee the first half of sight because nothing's been pressured now that 7's been dialed out, despite winning the health trade against Egg.
Yeah.
Again, it just feels like TSM take an inch, Envy just take a mile.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they punch back so quickly. That's the thing. And you know, there's a level of like, the hardest part about that round was getting on the site with things like stingers.
It was quiet. That's how they changed it up. That's how they, like, they shut it down a bit. They cut noise, and then they started running on, trading their way through it. Then they set up the smokes from Kane. They dial up the fight from there, ease up the tempo, and Inspire goes absolutely insane.
Damn. Well, dire straits here for TSM. It's going to be a obviously lackluster purchase. And you got to keep in mind that as the economy starts to get a little bit bigger for Envy, like they could still pull some craziness out with a lot of rounds in front of them, including rounds you would figure are a bit of a guarantee with things like Orbital Strike and, of course, Dimensional Drifts. Alvin trying to work off of a setup at B long doesn't work out for him at all. Timo, hold on a second. This Bucky's, well, never mind. I was going to say, if he hits one, not the decoy, maybe he gets a couple, but not the case. And this will be a plant and a pretty stable post plant afterwards for Envy.
Really appreciate Egg's conservation of his decoy. He just really understands when he knows he can sell it. And I appreciate the value he's able to find out of it every time. It's really admirable.
Whoa, okay.
Whoa.
Little momentary flex from 7, but again, not much lost from Envy as they get their 11th, and now a chance. TSM, it's must-win round coming up here. 2 to 4 is going to get called. You've got a Cosmic Divide close. Not that I think it would really deter too much of the execute from Envy, but regardless, this is a must-win round right here for TSM.
Yeah, this is mandatory. As must-win as this match probably feels for them. To get knocked into the lower bracket from the team that you are single-handedly making a little bit vulnerable at the moment. Certainly tough. And TSM, they would be on the chopping block if a team outside of the top 3 in points were to take this tournament.
Good point. Brawler. Well, Vort says, whoa, hold on a second. Seeker's also in the mix. Good wall here, though, for the Vice to stop any potential play. But it does get triggered by the decoy. Trailblazer waiting to go. Going to be sent over right onto the site itself. Timo in some trouble here. Vort is the first one to drop. Timo off the flash, trying to fall, but didn't have any ammunition. Interesting battle to be sure. It just didn't look like TSM were ready to receive that hit, even though the setup would have thought you think that they did. But now you just got 7 trying to re-enter with a tour de force. It's clean for a shot. But how do you get deeper in the site? Because honestly, GMD is not coming to help. So
no,
I just can't believe they're not even trying to give this much of a go.
I am also flabbergasted that they're not giving this a try. Okay, I mean, 7 steps in, like you have no time.
Yeah, this would have been great 15 seconds ago. But Envy clean it up.
I think our minds are in Haven.
The chopping block has to be, right?
Yeah.
Match point.
I mean, this is the Envy you want, right? This is the Envy you get. It's refreshing to see after the stumbles that we saw them come across from these sleeper teams coming from the Swiss stage. Now to see business as usual against one of the teams that I think we all considered one of the biggest threats that was still developing to become even better coming into this tournament. It's got to feel good. Especially being on TSM's map pick. You know, we're about to go to Haven. We're about to go to Envy's playground. This is looking really good for our 1 seeds.
Look, I think there's just something that I can't get over right now. Is I'm just continuing to look up and down the scoreboard. It's just like, there's a level of, you picked into one of Envy's better maps because Yoru. Like, you know what Eggster's going to do. He's played 15,000 games of Yoru in the last 2 months. So you know he's going to play Yoru. And you know that there's going to be a Cypher in the mix because Inspired doesn't really play. I won't say he doesn't play much else, but he loves Cypher on this map, as we've obviously been able to tell with his setups. But to sit there as TSM and say we're going to pick into one of Envy's stronger maps in this patch and try to out-Yoru them with a chamber in the, I'm trying to get behind the thought process, and I can't put a finger on what the idea here was for TSM.
It's really tough, especially, and I hate saying this because I love her to death, but with the Astra as well, it just all feels so stilted. And against a team that's as speedy as Envy, like GMD unfortunately hasn't been able to like reach those tendrils out with the gravity wells and the Nova pulses as much as I'm sure he's wanted to. He's had to purely play preventatively with the smokes because Envy are just so fast.
Hi there, how are you? That will work. Okay.
Spike down.
A little bit of a sneaky double agent to the back line. Timo is able to finally get a couple of eliminations. So 3v5 and Envy with 60 seconds to have a lot of problems to deal with. First and foremost is getting some ground back. The second is collecting the spike.
Kane doesn't throw a smoke in front of the spike. Oh, he just sprays through it instead.
Key 1v1 here.
One enemy remaining.
4 is good for it. That should be the end of the round. TSM will keep a lot of economy on their side, which is huge considering that almost everybody's zeroed out. So
30 seconds left.
see if Iron can make this a little bit more costly with a couple of repurchases. Almost getting GMD. Alvin on the cross. Tilts the head up with the opening shots and finishes things off. So 4 weapons will remain. And TSM, 6 more to go.
Yeah, they got ways to keep him out, and now you have ways to keep him back in now that that tour de force is gone. It's hard to know how much TSM is going to be able to conserve, given that Envy also have a ton they can throw at these executes. And we know how willing they are to just toss a couple ultis in the basket and hightail it after the pressure's been made and just work their way through anyway. Envy holding 6 rounds worth of cards at the moment, as Exter probably dying to hit that drift.
Yeah, for sure.
He's like, please.
Yeah, dude.
Just this round, please.
Give me a chance, team. Timo, aggressive at mid and a little bit of trouble here. Has to kind of fight for his life. And, well, dude, the stim beacon's kind of godly. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of godly.
I know exactly where you are.
Neural theft called, spike planted. GMD, Cosmic Divide surely. If he's allowed to, which he won't be. Shots over the top of the boxes. Put more pressure in the molly to stop the exit, brother. Envy is cooking right now.
It's so well strung. Everyone's just so intuitive. It's been the most attractive thing about this team from the moment that they were rankers. Like, they have been so understanding of how the game flows from a foundational level. Every piece of util, every interaction that every agent has with every single map, their understanding of it is so deep and conscious